Hey, Class Bites fans, welcome back. Today, we're jumping again into a fascinating journey across cultures as we explore some of the most influential ethnic groups that have shaped entire regions of Europe and beyond. Understanding who these communities are and how their identities formed gives you powerful insight into the story of human civilization. If you love learning big ideas in simple, fast, and engaging ways, smash that like button. And if you want more sharp, high-impact lessons just like this, make sure you hit subscribe. Let's dive in and uncover the incredible cultural forces that helped shape our world. The Germanic peoples include several culturally connected groups whose identities took shape over many centuries in the northern and central regions of Europe. Although each group developed its own traditions, languages, and national stories, they share deep linguistic and cultural roots that have long linked them together. The Germans emerged from the central parts of the Germanic world and gradually formed a distinct cultural identity shaped by regional kingdoms, shared language varieties, and long-standing traditions tied to craft, music, and community life. Over time, they became known for their contributions to philosophy, literature, engineering, and science, all of which grew from a culture that valued discipline, education, and strong local identities. Their sense of unity developed slowly, as many regions once followed their own customs before gradually forming a wider national character. The English trace their roots to early Germanic groups who settled across the island of Britain. As they blended with older local populations, they created a unique language and culture that would become the foundation of English identity. Their history features a strong tradition of maritime life, evolving political institutions, and a literary heritage that spread across the world. Over many generations, the English developed a society marked by a balance of continuity and change, combining older rural traditions with the growth of major cities and global influence. The Dutch formed their identity in the lowland regions along the North Sea, where a long relationship with water shaped their way of life. Communities became known for engineering solutions that managed rivers and coastlines, helping them reclaim and protect land. Over time, the Dutch became associated with trade, navigation, art, and a spirit of independence fostered by a landscape that required cooperation and careful planning. Their culture grew around bustling towns, artistic innovation, and a long tradition of openness to the wider world. The Swedes developed in the northern forests and coastal areas of Scandinavia, where the landscape encouraged a connection to nature and a society built on resilience and collective responsibility. Early communities were shaped by seafaring traditions, and over generations, the Swedes established strong social structures, a distinctive language, and a cultural style that blended practicality with elegance. Their history often reflects a balance between outward exploration and inward stability, forming a national character rooted in both adventure and harmony. The Norwegians formed their culture among dramatic mountains, deep fjords, and long coastlines. Life in this rugged environment encouraged independence, resourcefulness, and a strong bond with the sea. Early seafaring traditions influenced their identity for many generations, and communities developed customs centered on fishing, farming, and close-knit village life. As their society grew, the Norwegians maintained a deep relationship with nature, shaping a cultural outlook that values simplicity, mutual support, and quiet strength. Together, these groups illustrate the diversity of the Germanic world. Although they share ancient origins, each developed its own path shaped by climate, landscape, and historical experience, creating rich and distinct cultures that continue to influence the world today. The Romance peoples trace their origins to communities shaped by the widespread influence of the Latin language, which gradually evolved into the distinct tongues spoken across parts of Europe today. Although they share linguistic roots, each group formed its own identity through unique landscapes, histories, and cultural developments. The French emerged from a blend of Latin-speaking populations and older regional cultures that once filled the lands stretching from the northern coasts to the central plains. Over many generations, they developed a strong sense of cultural refinement, expressed through art, literature, and a long tradition of intellectual life. Their identity reflects an enduring balance between regional diversity and a unified national character, shaped by both rural heritage and vibrant urban centers. The Spanish formed their culture on the Iberian Peninsula, where Latin traditions merged with older local societies and influences carried across the Mediterranean. This mixture created a uniquely rich cultural landscape defined by strong regional identities, a deep connection to music and dance, and a long history of artistic expression. As their society grew, the Spanish developed a worldview marked by exploration, resilience, and a vivid blend of customs that continues to shape everyday life. The Portuguese grew along the western edge of the Iberian Peninsula, where the Atlantic coastline influenced their customs and outlook. Over time, they became known for a maritime spirit that encouraged discovery, trade, and cultural exchange across distant shores. Their identity reflects a blend of coastal traditions, heartfelt music, and close community life, shaped by a long relationship with the ocean and the rhythms of regional culture. The Italians developed from communities spread across the peninsula that had been deeply shaped by Latin heritage. As generations passed, these regions produced a remarkable diversity of dialects, artistic styles, and culinary traditions. Italian culture became known for its devotion to beauty, craft, and family life, expressed through architecture, painting, food, and a lively sense of regional pride. This mosaic of traditions forms the core of what is recognized as Italian identity. The Romanians formed their culture in the lands north of the Balkan Mountains, where Latin-speaking settlers blended with local peoples to create a distinctive identity. Over time, they developed a language that preserved many ancient features of Latin while also absorbing influences from surrounding regions. Romanian culture reflects a deep connection to folklore, pastoral life, and strong communal bonds, shaped by the rolling hills, forests, and seasonal rhythms of their homeland. Together, these Romance peoples illustrate how a shared linguistic foundation can give rise to diverse and vibrant cultures. Each group followed its own path, shaped by geography, history, and local traditions, yet all remain linked by the enduring legacy of their Latin origins. The Slavic peoples developed from early communities that once lived across wide stretches of Eastern and Central Europe, gradually forming distinct identities shaped by landscape, language, and long cultural traditions. Although they share ancient linguistic roots, each group followed its own path, creating rich and varied cultures that reflect their particular histories and surroundings. The Bulgarians formed their identity in the land south of the Danube, where early Slavic communities blended with older steppe and Balkan populations. Over time, this mix created a culture that combined strong village traditions, deep spiritual life, and a lasting connection to the mountains and plains that shaped daily living. Bulgarian identity grew around close community bonds, expressive folklore, and a heritage that values resilience and cultural continuity. The Russians developed across vast northern and eastern territories, where forests, rivers, and long winters influenced the rhythm of life. Slavic settlers merged with local peoples to create a society that valued endurance, collective strength, and a powerful sense of shared identity. Over many generations, the Russians built cultural traditions centered on storytelling, spiritual depth, and a connection to both rural landscapes and great urban centers. The Ukrainians emerged in the central plains of rich soil and open horizons, where fertile soil and open horizons encouraged a strong agricultural culture and deeply rooted village customs. Their identity grew through a blend of Slavic heritage, local traditions, and a vivid folk culture expressed in music, embroidery, and communal celebrations. Ukrainians have long emphasized a close relationship with the land, a spirit of independence, and a strong poetic imagination shaped by their environment. The Poles formed their culture among the forests, rivers, and plains of Central Europe, where early Slavic tribes gradually united through shared language and customs. Polish identity developed around a combination of rural traditions, chivalric ideals, and a long-standing devotion to community and faith. Over time, Poles became known for their literary achievements, spirited music, and a resilient sense of national character maintained through changing historical circumstances. The Czechs developed their identity in the heart of Central Europe, where fertile valleys and ancient trade routes shaped their society. Slavic-speaking communities blended with older local populations and created a culture that valued craftsmanship,
learning, and urban life. Czech traditions reflect a balance between practical sensibilities, rich storytelling, and the lively artistic spirit that flourished in both small towns and historic cities. Serbs formed their culture in the southern regions of the Slavic world, where rivers, mountains, and crossroads of cultures influenced their development. Their identity grew through close-knit communities, strong family traditions, and a deep connection to heroic poetry and spiritual heritage. Serbian culture reflects a blend of Slavic roots and Balkan influences, producing a distinctive sense of pride, warmth, and cultural endurance. Together, these Slavic peoples show how a shared ancient origin can branch into many different identities, shaped by geography, local influences, and lived experience. Each group contributed its own voice to the broader Slavic world, forming cultures that remain both interconnected and uniquely their own.
The Basques are a unique people who live primarily in the rugged region between the Western Pyrenees and the northern coast of the Iberian Peninsula. Unlike most of their neighbors, they do not descend from the Romance or Slavic linguistic traditions, and their language, culture, and identity have ancient roots that predate much of the surrounding European history. The Basques developed a society closely tied to their mountainous environment, where small villages, steep valleys, and the Atlantic coast shaped daily life. Farming, herding, and fishing were central to survival, fostering strong community bonds and a deep respect for the land. Over generations, their traditions, festivals, and folklore preserved a sense of continuity and distinctiveness, with music, dance, and storytelling playing a central role in cultural life. The Basques are also known for their resilience and independence, maintaining their language and customs through centuries of outside influence, while contributing unique craftsmanship, culinary traditions, and maritime skills to the broader region. Their identity reflects a remarkable continuity of heritage, rooted in both the landscape they inhabit and the enduring strength of their communal and cultural life. The Irish and Scots are closely related peoples who share Celtic roots, though each developed a distinct identity shaped by geography, history, and local traditions. The Irish emerged on the island of Ireland, where rolling green landscapes, rugged coastlines, and fertile plains influenced a society rooted in farming, fishing, and tight-knit communities. Over generations, the Irish cultivated a rich oral tradition, preserving history, myths, and poetry through storytelling and song. Their culture reflects a deep connection to family, land, and spiritual life, with music, dance, and festivals forming a central part of everyday experience. Despite centuries of external pressures, the Irish maintained a strong sense of national identity, expressed through language, literature, and a lively communal spirit. The Scots developed in the northern part of the British Isles, where highlands, lochs, and mountains shaped resilient communities with a strong sense of local pride. Like the Irish, they retained a Celtic heritage, blending it over time with influences from neighboring peoples. Scottish culture emphasizes clan traditions, storytelling, and music, with bagpipes, poetry, and historical epics reflecting a rich collective memory. Daily life often revolved around farming, herding, and close community ties, which reinforced a sense of mutual support and endurance. Across generations, the Scots preserved a distinct identity that honors both the dramatic landscapes they inhabit and the cultural legacies that connect them to their Celtic origins. Together, the Irish and Scots illustrate how related peoples can share deep roots while developing separate yet intertwined cultural paths, each shaped by the land, history, and enduring traditions of their communities. Thanks so much for spending your time learning with me today. If this breakdown helped you understand the topic more clearly, go ahead and tap that like button. It really supports the channel. And if you want more fast, powerful lessons delivered straight to you, don't forget to hit subscribe. Your support keeps Class Bites growing, and I appreciate every one of you. See you in the next video.